Good morning. We are getting ready to go to Hollywood Studios today. It's the last day of our trip. Today, our goal is to try and show you guys how we fare with using Lightning Lane, Disney Genie Plus, at what is potentially the most difficult park to use Genie Plus at, the most difficult park to get on rides at, because there are so many heavy hitter attractions. So we already got Lightning Lanes for Rise of the Resistance and Slinky Dog Dash, which are by far probably the hardest ones to grab. So we are just about ready. Let's see, I've got my magic band, got my phone, and let's see, I've got a Garrett somewhere. And I think we're ready to go. So we'll see you here soon.
Everybody's got the hustle and bustle. Cars are gonna get there about 10 seconds quicker than this guy. It's gonna amount to getting on the same ride, same vehicle, doing the exact same thing everybody else is doing. So early entry. We caught the bus. The bus was there when we pulled up 7:21. We were in the park by 7:41. It's currently 7:47. Mickey and Minnie is running a 20-minute wait.
Okay, so we just did Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and now Smuggler's Run only has a 20-minute wait, so that's where we're going to now.
And then our Lightning Lane for Rise of the Resistance.
So we had a change of plans.
Not our choice.
Not our choice. Yeah,
That's okay.
We went to redeem our Lightning Lane for Rise of the Resistance.
We went to Smuggler's Run first.
Oh yeah, it wasn't quite time to do that. So we went over to Smuggler's Run because on the app it was saying it was a 20-minute wait. And by the time we got over there, it was a 55-minute wait. So we were like,
We have Lightning Lanes, so let's not.
Yeah. So it was about time to go ahead and get our Rise of the Resistance one though. So we went over there and the ride was down for technical difficulties. So it is still down as far as we know. I hadn't eaten anything for breakfast because it ran out of Pop-Tarts. So we went to the Trolley Car Cafe and got some food, and Garrett got a drink. We do not recommend doing that this early in the morning because there's always a really long line, but they did move it pretty quick. So we are just hanging out here, eating our food and waiting. Our next Lightning Lane is Slinky Dog at 9:30, which is in about 15 minutes. So we'll probably leave here in a minute and meander over to Toy Story Land so we can go ahead and do that. And then as soon as we tap in to the Slinky Dog queue, then we're gonna go ahead and start messing with the app and seeing what we can get next. We have a...
As early as possible.
Yeah, as early as possible. We have or we were told that as soon as Rise of the Resistance comes back up, we can go and get in line for that. So we're also just going to be watching for that. So we've already done Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. We're about to get Slinky Dog out of the way. And we have an assurance, provided that the ride comes back up today, that we can ride Rise.
I am going to screenshot our ride passes.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
It's also Avid eBay confirmation. Sorry, I sneezed.
It's a good idea to screenshot, especially if you're not able to get on a ride because it breaks down or something.
Screenshot your proof that you had it.
Screenshot, because that way you can show that to a cast member and they'll know for sure that you're telling the truth, and then they will accommodate you.
Well, we saw that Rise was up and running after our Slinky Dog dash. So we did our lightning lane for that. We booked the Tower of Terror, canceled it, and we're doing Star Tours now because it's a 45-minute wait, or we can go right this very second and basically have a walk-on with our Genie Plus, so we're going to do it. We did go to check out our Rise of the Resistance because it was back up and running, but by the time we got over there, it had shut down again. So that's kind of where we are. We're going to do Star Tours. Maybe just go ahead and do a lightning lane for Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, and then once we get seated in there, regroup again and keep going. The Genie is very frustrating. I think after doing this for several days now, I think I hate Genie Plus. The process is very annoying. The 2-hour rule is, or 120-minute rule, which is 2 hours. That's very frustrating to me because we'll book a time. For instance, our Tower of Terror time was for 2.5 hours later, and wait times were like well over an hour for most rides.
You have to decide which is more important. If you just want to get on something within, close proximity time to when you're looking, or if you're looking for a very specific ride like Tower of Terror. Before that 11:55 popped up that we grabbed, they were only showing times in the evening. So personally, I think it's probably better to always try and grab the Genie Plus that's at the closest window to you, unless you're like gonna completely just have a horrible trip if you don't ride one specific ride.
Right, so if we would have booked that Tower of Terror at it was a 7:55 p.m. and it was still in the 9 o'clock hour, so then it would be 11 o'clock before we could book another one, and we would still have that Genie Plus, but then the problem is we don't really want to wait in an hour-long line, and maybe that's, and of course that's unreasonable, like when you have thousands of guests in a park every day. But with the Genie, it's, we have the Genie, so we're trying to use that as much as possible and get the best use out of it. So I think that's kind of the issue. That's kind of where we stand with it. When you go into book, do you want to prioritize booking everything, booking the earliest window possible, or do you want to prioritize the ride? Because then you'll run into an issue, for instance, with like Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller Coaster, obviously Rise of the Resistance for the individual lightning lane. You run into the issue of so many people wanting to ride that they don't hand out any more lightning lanes for that day. So it becomes a little bit of a struggle there. And the way we do Disney anymore is we try to relax as much as possible and but still do as much as we can. And it just kind of feels like we're always kind of stressing about getting a better time or working on those lightning lanes as much as possible. So, of course, the other option is standing in an hour-long line and then another hour-long line and another hour-long line. At least with the Genie, you have like essentially a walk-on.
Okay, so we were able to get a lightning lane for Star Tours, so we just went and did that. Now we are going to the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. So we just got out of the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. Now, it was epic. I love that show. It's a great show. Out of all the shows here, I think it's probably the best in my opinion. But we are now on our way to try for a third time to get on Rise. Hopefully it doesn't break down as soon as we get there again. So, we'll see. We'll let you know. Something that we've never done before. Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. So we got a lightning lane for that too. And we managed to get one for Rock and Roller Coaster at 2:30. But before that we have lunch at Mama Melrose. So we're gonna do this, go eat lunch, and then go do Rock and Roller Coaster. So yesterday, of course, we went to Hollywood Studios in the morning, and we never really wrapped up how our day went. We ended up leaving around 2 o'clock. We came back to the hotel and took a nap and then went to Disney Springs for our last evening. So we thought we'd sit down and tell you just exactly what we accomplished with Genie Plus and getting there for the early theme park entry at 7:30.
We were up, we bought Genie Plus early. Kelsey was able to get Slinky Dog Dash right at 7, and I was able to get Rise of the Resistance right at 7. And we know that the ride went down 3 times at Rise, and we finally got on. The fun thing is, at last night late, I got an email from Disney that they had issued us a refund for our Rise of the Resistance. I'm not saying that's going to be the norm if the ride goes down while you're there and still get to ride, but we still got to ride it and we were refunded. So I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe because it went down so many times. Yeah. Because literally every time we walked over, at least twice, it was open when we looked at the app, and then we took about 5 minutes to walk over, and then it was down again. So just for the maybe inconvenience, maybe that's why they did that. We're not really sure. We're okay with that. What we got on Genie Plus, we got Rise of the Resistance, Slinky Dog, Toy Story Mania, Star Tours. Yeah, right. We got Rock and Roller Coaster. We ended up not using it. We ended up canceling it and going ahead and leaving. There were just a lot of people, and we were getting tired. We did get to ride Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, but we did that when we got there at 7:30. Yeah, that was part of the early park admission, and that was exactly part of the plan that Kelsey laid out. book those two and then go straight for Mickey and Minnie, which was great. I have, since I was kind of in charge of booking lightning lanes as the day went on, there are a lot of times during the day. So what we didn't ride were Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, and Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Lightning lanes were popping up for those, even though it said currently unavailable. I just kept swiping down and being ready. One of the tricks that I used was to click or tap on the ride that I wanted. So if I wanted Rock and Roller Coaster, I tapped on that and then backed out of it and scrolled to the top, and that way when it refreshed it always went down to that ride and I could tap really fast. And there were, we could, if we would have stayed another few hours, definitely if we would have stayed the rest of the day, we would have had no problem getting on every single ride at Hollywood Studios. We would have been able to get on every single ride with very, very little wait. The downside was like crisscrossing the park, but you know.
Yeah, we were able to lightning lane Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular as well.
Which was good.
Which was cool. That doesn't guarantee you like a middle seat, but it guarantees that you're going to have a seat. Mm-hmm. And that returned a few months ago, and it's a very popular show. So lightning lane is a good idea for that one. Especially
unless you want to get there early. We got there, we knew that we were going to need that because we did I think we did Star Tours, and then we did Rise of the Resistance, and then we went over there. So we ended up getting there about 10:30 for the 10:45 show, and they definitely had to turn people away. But we had that lightning lane, so we had a seat guaranteed for us. Yeah. It's bleacher seating. I think they did have backs on their seats, so that was good. But it's about a 30-minute show, just depicting how an action movie is filmed, and most of it's fairly realistic. So it's a good like educational thing. And it's kind of neat to see how they do some of those. Yeah. Some of that, even though they were acting while demonstrating. Yeah. It was kind of cool.
Well, and it's one of the last things from the old MGM days. If you remember that, it's one of the last surviving shows or things that you can do in Hollywood Studios.
And they got rid of it for a while. It was that stunt show with the cars.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed.
But they brought it back, and it is a great show. So, but overall, we were able to do, in combination with early theme park entry and Genie Plus, we were able to do a lot at Hollywood Studios. And Hollywood Studios was the one that we really wanted to test it at, because it has all those heavy hitter attractions. Pretty much every single one of them is a big ticket attraction that everybody wants to ride, but it doesn't have a lot of filler attractions there. So Genie Plus, it did really help us. Now, saying that though, on the other hand, there were some frustrations with it. Of course, Garrett, like he said yesterday, was pretty much in charge of the lightning lanes. I didn't do a whole lot with him yesterday. And he was on his phone a lot.
Yeah, bring an external charger and it's almost like you spend as much time trying to scroll and refresh as you would if you were waiting in a standby line sometimes. Yeah. But at least you're kind of you have that freedom. When we're in line, we don't like to be in line. I think we just feel like we're stuck, you know?
Yeah. A thought that crossed my mind yesterday as we were going through this process was that I don't think that Genie Plus is, at least during busy times. Now, during not so busy times, he probably wouldn't have had to be on his phone quite as much trying to get these and messing around, scrolling and all that, trying to find the right time. Or a time. I do think that during these really busy times especially, that Genie Plus is not as conducive to park hopping. Because like we said, if we would have been there longer, we would have been able to get on everything with a lightning lane. But if you're park hoppers like us, we do a lot of park hopping, and we are big advocates for park hopping. That kind of
I can throw a wrench in there.
It makes it difficult because we wanted to get out of there at 2, because we had other things we wanted to do. So that made it difficult. During these busy times, you really have to have a big chunk of time if you want to get on everything and you want to use Genie Plus. Right. Of course, Genie Plus, I think, obviously it's great because you are able to skip the lines, but like we said, it comes with its pitfalls too. So overall, I think yesterday was pretty successful though.
It was. And then we took a nap, went to Disney Spring, went to World of Disney, spent too much money, as per usual. We got cookies at Gideon's.
Yes.
2 thumbs up. And then we always eat our Gideon's like on like top, they're like little flower planters, but they're concrete. We always eat our cookies there outside Jock Lindsay's hangar bar, and I'm like, you know what, we ought to just go in. So we went in, had the queso fundido. It was fantastic. Had a couple beers with a couple Florida, well, we had 1 Florida beer, 1 German beer, and Kelsey had a sangria. And it was just a cool hang, lounge atmosphere, of course, great, and with great Disney service. So it was a magnificent evening. Yeah. And then we got back to the hotel, went to sleep, woke up, watched the sunrise, ate at Boma. We're packed up, and now we're headed to the airport.
Yep. So, all in all, for Hollywood Studios, get Genie Plus. You're going to be happier if you do.
Absolutely.
So, for sure. Yeah. And if you're staying on property, get there for early park entry.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Well, hey there, friends.
Jumbo.
Jumbo!
We're
stampeding. Oh.
Sorry.
The zebra almost got run over by a wildebeest.